deter you. I'm more than willing and capable of calling these private therapists and asking these questions for you. I mean, that's part of my goal as in my position as an advocate.
Awesome.
I'm simply providing, like doing what my role specifies, which is providing that bird's eye view and looking at some different angles. That's it. Do not take this as an indirect or covert way of me trying to deter you. That's not what this conversation is.
No, and I just, the only reason that I'm saying we should take a pause is that you're right. Like, I want to record everything, and that is eccentric and bizarre. And so it's not like every piece of therapy will be recorded. It's just, I want to have that ability, and I don't want to have to bring it up and talk about it. I want to have a record of me figuring out a problem and solving it and getting better at doing things.
Yeah.
And so if we call a bunch of therapists, just tell them, I mean, hey, this is on a recording line. Does that matter? Or say something like, are you willing to have recordings of your therapy sessions? And as long as my insurance is paying for it, then it's the guy's getting paid to do it. And so, and I'm not making money on my social media.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying. Like, I guess what the thing is with me is that I feel conceited to make this.
You're incredibly
egotistical. I feel like it's
no, that's not the word. That's not the word I'm looking for. That's not what I'm saying.
You're narcissism or something. Like, I don't.
No, that's not the word. I mean, what makes you interesting is that you kind of assess your motives really honestly, and then more so, you're really candid about that. You know what I mean? Like, you don't sugarcoat anything, even about yourself, which is hilarious. It's pretty funny. It's pretty refreshing.
Thanks.
So the fact that you can assess so honestly and still want to proceed. It's like what I mean is, like, you can assess. Not that I think this is a bad option, but you can say, oh, I think I'm really egotistical, and I think I'm narcissistic, and I think this goal is based on narcissism and a certain degree of hubris, but I still want to do it. It's hilarious.
No, you've got me there, but also, like, I actually believe in the cause. So the way I say it is, instead of privacy, I believe in publicity. And that means take all the bad things in life, all the times that you poop your pants, that you say something wrong, that you embarrass yourself, that you unintentionally act ableist or racist or homophobic or whatever. I want those recordings of those acts to be public so that we can reduce what's bad by thinking about it. And so part of it's because I don't mind being public. That's the egotistical part. But the other part is that I actually believe in that ideology, that the more you make public, the better off we all are, especially when it comes to trauma and mental therapy, because almost everybody seems to have a mental health issue. From my perspective, I look at the world, actually, you're an exception to this rule. There are exceptions.
No, I'm not.
Well, okay, then that's everybody. I mean, that's the thing, is everybody's got this mental health issues. So if you can get therapy by watching somebody else get therapy, which totally makes sense, then that would be good. And then on top of that, the other risk is that, let's say I'm about to be a school shooter, which is not the case, so don't panic. But let's say I have a therapy session where I go, that's it. I'm just going to talk to Samantha and then do it. I'm sick of this. And then I leave the therapy session. And somebody's been following me, and they know that my gun is Samantha, and that being sick of it means that I'm going to go ahead with my mass shooting. Then publishing the therapy session could actually save lives. And that's not like, I'm not making that up. Like, there are people that have been in therapy sessions where the therapist was like, I have to tell the authorities, but I got to ask my boss and I got to do this and that. And if you just have a little bit of social media, then you get to know the person, not just the therapist, but also the therapy.
So let me put up. So I think that makes complete sense, and I don't even think I'm playing devil's advocate, but we can use that term just for the point.
Oh, that's fine.
I think that viewpoint is accurate. I think that viewpoint is admirable, but I also think that viewpoint is
rare,
not properly. It's not properly considering how nasty people are. Meaning that anytime you upload, anytime you share your opinion, your personal opinion on anything, especially online, right? It's like you're placing yourself on a pedestal to be judged immediately and harshly.
You get criticism.
By people of all professions and all levels of education, and more importantly, all levels of experience.
And that's something else that needs therapy.
It does.
That fact needs to be fixed by having therapy.
Okay, that's true, but that occurs on such an individual level. When you just put content out there, that is not therapy. That is a way of you sharing the world and real life experiences of people, but how those people, those individuals are going to interpret what they hear without them working on themselves, those are that's car crash stuff.
No,
you know what I mean?
You're right. And so one of the things is just, if you're a therapist or a doctor of any sort, I feel like you have to be above the risk of the crowd and what people will say. I feel like you just have to transcend that in order to help your patient. And
True,
so
but that's not accurate. But that's
and
not
so
reality.
what's
You know what I mean? In reality, they're still people.
No,
And
you're right. But what's reversed here is, what I'm saying is that as a patient, I'm doing this because I think that the doctor should do this. And so it's a political thing more than a thing about therapy. And so that's where it makes me think like I'm not running for office. It is totally egotistical for me to make a political point that doesn't go anywhere and doesn't help anyone. But that's what publicity is that I don't care about my privacy. I'm not embarrassed about anything, even the terrible, terrible parts of me, because I want bad things to end, and I think recording them helps that.
Yeah, no, I understand your perspective. You're very clear on that.
Okay.